Mr. Wike.
Hi, Jenny.
I'm really glad you let me come into your classroom 4th hour today.
Yeah, it's happy to have you.
It's been a while since I've sat through an English 9 lesson, so it was nice to see those younger students again today.
Yeah.
I would just want to kind of get a feel for how you thought the day went and put an input on how I thought the class went, and hopefully by the end of this conversation we'll have a good plan so that we can just continue on the path that I think you're really moving on, which is to be a great English teacher. So first thing, can I just ask you to start off with what you think went really well today?
Yeah. I thought as far as things that went well in the lesson, I thought the individual group share-outs they did about the article went pretty well, as far as each group kind of teaching the whole class about gratitude and what it looks like kind of on the research side of things and the scientific side of things. I thought the students did do a good job kind of explaining their ideas and summarizing. Well, yeah, that was a pretty good element to the lesson.
Great. And then, is there anything that you thought didn't go as you had planned?
Yeah, well, I guess, and this sort of goes back to this aspect of the activity, which was students. I just said that they did a good job summarizing, but what I really meant was they did a good job sharing about their specific areas, but when it came to the time to actually summarize it, they didn't really do so well with that. They were more just reading right off the page. I was like, so what ideas came from that realm of paragraphs, and then they would just read right off the page, and I was kind of like, they don't know what it means to summarize.
Right. Yes.
I was going through it, I was like, they're not picking up on what I mean when I say, give me like just a few main points here. So that actually extended that part of the lesson beyond what I wanted, because they just were just reading right through, which, yeah, I didn't want that to happen, and it did, so.
Well, I really enjoyed watching the students write their actual list.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was interesting to see how you had kind of mentioned that you wanted them to be less general and more specific, because at first some of the lists look like family, friends, technology, cars, instead of being focused on, I really am grateful that my mother has helped me with this, or I'm really grateful that my grandparents are able to do this with me. So I thought once they realized that they wanted it to be more specific, I thought they really did enjoy writing their lists of gratitude. I think I would like to see in the end kind of what their blog posts were when they finally picked their 3 that they were going to type up a paragraph about each one and really dive into the specifics. So another thing that I wanted to talk about was student engagement. I think today was a tough day because it's the day before Thanksgiving break. The kids have squirrels in their pants. They are, you know, not as generally focused at all. And so I thought the thing that I really did like was that it was a clear, small, daily activity. It wasn't something that they had to start today and then they're going to come back after a 5-day break and continue on, which is sort of a nightmare.
Yeah.
And the idea that it had to do with Thanksgiving, just the idea of gratitude, the idea of what is gratitude, how do we define it, how is gratitude beneficial, not just to those that we are grateful for, but for ourselves. So I thought it was a great topic for this particular time in the semester.
Yeah, and if you're okay with me commenting on that, I when I was thinking about this lesson and what I want to do the day before break, I did. That was another thing I thought went pretty well, which you've already brought up, but just the ability to kind of use some reading strategies, still some literacy strategies, and get them to do some writing, and so I guess that aspect went better than I had anticipated as well. But yeah, it was. I enjoyed that aspect of teaching the lesson.
So the only thing that I was kind of writing down in my notes was I liked how when we were talking about the different paragraphs, each table had been assigned, you were giving some really good anecdotes. So you would come up with something and then, this, and I felt like that would have been a great time for maybe some of the other kids to say, oh, that makes me think of this. And when there's that conversation going, the reason, and I kind of backtracked to it because what affected me was I saw a student over here who said she was grateful that her father brought her to this country.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a powerful thing
It's
right
huge.
now, today,
Mhm.
in this political climate.
Mhm.
And because there wasn't this kind of inner dialogue between the tables, we
Yeah.
didn't get to address what the magnitude of what she had said.
Yeah.
And so I did think, oh, it's too bad that we weren't having some of these discussions where kids could be like, how old were you when you came? Or, you know, just so that there's
It's true.
a positive influence of immigration, because right now I think that was probably a really scary thing for her to say, and I'm so proud that she did say
Yeah,
that.
and that's also like one of the most quiet students in my class. Like
Right.
I've probably heard her say 5 words total.
Yes.
So that was the 5 words she used today.
We're
Unbelievable.
awesome.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wish that we could have given her kudos for
Mhm.
being able to say that, and I think she understood because you were able to comment
Mhm.
that you enjoyed that comment and how powerful it was, but I think there's something to be said about peer interaction
Yeah.
where they would be able to kind of say, oh, that's, or even ask her questions, because I know I happened to be sitting at a table who someone had said something similar on his sheet. He said he was grateful that Trump was president.
Okay.
And so I thought, as I was sneak reading his paper
Yeah.
and hearing her, I thought, oh, the dynamics could have been really interesting. But they're freshmen, so I know that that's a little touchy also, because you never know where freshmen are going to take a conversation like that.
Exactly.
It's not like teaching U.S. government to seniors.
Yeah.
So, but that was the only thing I thought was I wish that there had been just a tad bit more conversation between the tables, because I got to know my table,
Yeah.
but not necessarily the other tables interacting. The other thing was areas of reinforcement, and I was going to say I really liked that the kids didn't whine or complain about getting on and writing paragraphs. Like, writing is something that I can tell just from coming in today, they are accustomed to doing in here. And they're not going to gripe and complain, and, you know, they all sat down and they figured out which 3 items they wanted to pick up on, and then they just started typing their paragraphs. And it was nice to see that there wasn't that, oh, you mean the day before Thanksgiving break, we have to write a paragraph?
Right.
How awful.
Right.
So I think that's great that the kids are used to, like, in this classroom, we will read and write regularly. And it's not necessarily something that you do for homework. Like, I'm anticipating that you take the time in class and not waste class time and turn this in before you walk out the door.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I was going to ask about those blogs. If they didn't finish it, is it auto-saving it as they go?
So on that website, I'm pretty sure it will not save it. So there is a save button on Blogger, and so maybe part of it is I'm waiting to see maybe the next best Google like thing to use. And I think Blogger is a Google site, but as far as the same technology as like Docs and Slides and everything in Drive. I don't know
Because
if it's
Drive's
saved.
auto-saving as they go. So I was kind of wondering,
Right.
like, if they got stuck on one, can they just start the next one and easily go back and finish one?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
how?
They can save drafts and they can go back, but I don't think it's quite as user friendly as I'd like. So I love the fact that they're on blogs, but it's just not quite where I want. So I guess and like Google Plus is a thing, but it's more like almost like a social network for Google, you know. And so I guess I'm waiting on a better blog resource for students. But for now, Blogger does the job. But
And do you grade off of that then when you, like, are you going to be assessing them on what they wrote today?
yeah, so on my side of Blogger, I have kind of a reading list on the left-hand side of my home screen, and I can get to all 87 students on the left. And so they've had in there, like, the name of their blog, they've had to use either their first name or their last name, so I can easily be like, there's Smith,
Yes.
Sally Smith's blog, you know, and go to
Right.
it like that. So yeah, I'll click on each blog, and it'll take me to their link, and yeah.
Well, I think that was probably the highlight for me, was that they were able to be academically rigorous on the day before Thanksgiving break for an entire class period. So, you know, they are accustomed to it, and that speaks volumes for your abilities in the classroom.
Thank you.
So kind of just to recap, just what I said, which is I think you're doing a great job. I think you're definitely making it clear that you have directions that need to be followed and activities that need to be completed, and that there are clear lines of what students can do and what they can't do, and they've pushed when they want, because there were a few phones, but they were, you know, very quick and sly and not the blatant I don't care what he's saying, you know,
Right.
and that kids will be kids,
Yeah.
and so to just kind of minimize that was awesome. And
Yeah.
I think again the day before Thanksgiving you did great.
Thanks.
So
Well, and your ideas about how to get that, I think that's a great next step for me, is how do I then engage students when that great dialogue does present itself? Because you're absolutely right, I kind of cut it off at the knees, and so just you bringing up my one student's comment about coming to the United States, I was just like, oh, that was a great moment, and I just kind of let it just slip by. So
Mrs. Stricherz, please contact the office. Mrs. Stricherz.
you're
That's
popular.
me.
You're
So, well, and to end this, thank you so much.
yeah,
and
thanks.
I look forward to observing you in the future.
Yes, all right, thank you.